It was a chilly December morning in the small town of Windermere, where snowflakes drifted lazily through the air and the streets glimmered with holiday lights. People bustled about with shopping bags, laughter, and greetings echoing through the air. But amidst all the festive cheer, there was a young woman named Clara who walked with her hands tucked deep into her coat pockets, her breath forming small clouds in front of her face. Clara was 26, with gentle eyes and hair the color of chestnuts that curled beneath her knit hat. She worked at a small bookstore near the town square, a cozy little place with creaky floors and the scent of paper that seemed to wrap around her like a comforting blanket. It wasn't a job that paid much, but Clara loved stories. They were her escape, her peace, her purpose. This year, though, the holidays felt different. Her father, who had always been her pillar of strength, had fallen ill, and the medical bills were piling up faster than she could manage. The house they had shared since her mother's passing now felt too large and too quiet. She'd skipped decorations, skipped gifts, and skipped most of the joy that usually came with the season. On her way to work that morning, she stopped at the corner cafe to warm up. As she waited in line, she noticed a small boy ahead of her, perhaps 8 or 9, holding a crumpled $5 bill in his mittened hand. His nose was red from the cold, and his eyes darted anxiously toward the counter. When it was his turn, he placed the bill carefully on the counter and pointed to a small snow globe in a gift basket near the register. It wasn't meant for sale individually, but the boy's quiet voice trembled as he said, "Please, it's for my mom. She loves snow globes. I don't have more money, but I want to give her something nice for Christmas." The barista, a kind woman but bound by store policy, hesitated. "I'm sorry, sweetheart, but the snow globe isn't sold separately." The boy's face fell. He picked up the bill and mumbled, "It's okay," before turning to leave. Something stirred inside Clara as she watched him. That longing, the wish to make someone else happy even when you had so little, was something she understood all too well. Without thinking twice, she approached the counter and gently touched the barista's arm. "Could you add that snow globe to my coffee order?" she whispered. The barista smiled softly, nodded, and placed it in a small paper bag. Clara caught up with the boy outside, where he was kicking at the snow, trying to hide his disappointment. "Hey," she said gently, holding out the bag. "I think you dropped this." He blinked up at her in confusion, taking it hesitantly. I didn't buy anything." Clara smiled. "Maybe it was meant for you anyway." The boy peeked inside and gasped when he saw the snow globe. "But, this is..." "Just make sure your mom gets it," Clara said softly. "That's what matters, right?" The boy's eyes glistened with gratitude. "Thank you. I'll tell her Santa sent it." Clara laughed lightly. "Sounds perfect." He ran off, his boots crunching in the snow, and Clara felt a warmth spread through her chest, something she hadn't felt in weeks. Later that day, she returned to the bookstore, where the usual customers came in for holiday gifts and quiet escapes. She spent the day recommending novels, wrapping books, and pretending not to notice the ache in her chest whenever someone mentioned family gatherings. As she was about to close up, an older man entered. He looked to be in his late 60s, with a neatly trimmed gray beard and kind, curious eyes. He wore a long wool coat and carried a small package wrapped in gold paper. "I hope I'm not too late," he said with a gentle smile. "Not at all," Clara replied, smiling politely. "We're open for another few minutes. Looking for anything special?" He walked slowly through the aisles, his fingers brushing over the spines of books as though each one held a secret he wanted to uncover. Finally, he turned back to her. "Actually, I'm looking for something that can make someone believe in kindness again." The question caught her off guard. "That's quite a request," she said softly. He chuckled. "It is. But I believe books have that power." Clara thought for a moment and then pulled a small volume from the nearby shelf, an old copy of The Little Prince. Its cover was worn, but its words, she knew, were timeless. "This one," she said. "It reminds you that even small acts of care can mean everything." The man looked at it, nodded, and bought it without hesitation. But when Clara went to place it in a bag, he handed her the gold-wrapped package. "This is for you," he said quietly. She frowned in surprise. "For me? I think there's a mistake." "No mistake," he replied, eyes twinkling. "Someone left this at my charity office this morning, addressed only as, for someone who could use a little light." I've been carrying it all day, waiting to find who it was meant for. And somehow, I think I just did." Before Clara could respond, he tipped his hat and left, the bell above the door jingling softly as he disappeared into the snowy night. Curiosity tugged at her as she locked up and sat by the shop's little Christmas tree, its tiny lights flickering. Carefully, she unwrapped the golden paper. Inside was a delicate snow globe, the same design as the one she'd bought for the boy earlier that day. Inside the globe, a small cottage sat beneath swirling snow, and beneath it, a message was engraved. "Kindness always finds its way back." Clara's breath caught. Her eyes filled with tears she hadn't realized she'd been holding back. She turned the globe over and shook it gently, watching the snow swirl around the tiny cottage, feeling a strange, beautiful sense of connection to the world around her. That night, as she walked home beneath the lamplights, she thought about the boy and his mother, about the stranger who'd handed her the package, and about how something as small as a gift could ripple outward in ways one might never expect. The next morning, she visited her father at the small community hospital. He was resting, weak but smiling when he saw her. She placed the snow globe on the bedside table. "It's beautiful," he murmured, turning it over in his frail hands. "Where did you get it?" Clara smiled softly. "It found me." Over the next few days, something began to shift in her life. She noticed people more closely, the way the nurse brought extra blankets without being asked, how the grocer helped an elderly man carry his bags, how her customers lingered a little longer just to chat. It was as if kindness had opened her eyes to the quiet good that had always been there. A week later, as the first day of the new year approached, Clara returned to the cafe where it all began. She was sipping her coffee near the window when a familiar voice called out, "Hey! You're the snow globe lady." It was the same little boy, tugging at his mother's hand. His mother was a woman in her early 30s, with tired eyes but a radiant smile that spoke of gratitude and love. The boy excitedly explained how his mom had loved the gift and displayed it proudly by their window. "She said it was the nicest thing she's ever gotten," he said proudly. His mother nodded, her eyes meeting Clara's. "I don't know what you did, but you made his Christmas unforgettable." "Thank you." Clara shook her head, smiling warmly. "No, he did that himself. I just helped a little." As they chatted, Clara felt an indescribable joy settle over her, one that had nothing to do with what she had received, but everything to do with what she had given. Later that evening, as she closed the bookstore, she found an envelope slipped under the door. Inside was a short note in neat handwriting. "Dear Clara, I wanted to thank you for the book. It reminded me that sometimes the smallest acts can reach the farthest hearts. I thought you should know, the snow globe you received came from a donation meant to honor a young woman who once gave her last bit of savings to buy a gift for a child. The world works in circles of kindness, doesn't it? With gratitude. A friend." Clara stared at the note, stunned. The snow globe she had given the boy and the one she had received, they were connected in a way she couldn't explain. A gift meant for someone else had somehow come full circle, finding its rightful place. She sat by the window, the street outside glowing with the last of the holiday lights, and held the snow globe close. The little cottage inside looked peaceful, surrounded by endless white, and she realized that the warmth she felt was something no amount of hardship could dim. In a world that often felt cold and hurried, kindness was the only gift that truly multiplied. One simple gesture, a snow globe, a smile, a helping hand, had become a thread weaving together strangers who might never have met otherwise. That night, before she went to bed, Clara placed the globe on her windowsill, where the moonlight could reach it. The snow inside shimmered like stars. She whispered softly, "Thank you for reminding me what giving really means." And somewhere, perhaps in another part of town, perhaps in the heart of someone she had unknowingly touched, another small act of kindness began, one that would continue the story she had started, a story born from a single gift meant for someone else.